Hello, everybody, and welcome to my latest UX audit on Facebook Live. So today we are going to go over my friend Jeremy's new website, which he just created kind of for a specific audience. So it'll be interesting for us to go through this because he has like an overarching brand website, and then this is going to be specifically about working with lawyers. And actually, Jeromy and I are working together on a project right now where we are attempting to create a new way to bring these lawyers leads that's different than the typical pay-per-click backed model, although I think what Jeromy is going to talk about on his website is going to be mostly about the pay-per-click side of things. Either way, excited to share that project with you as it develops. We're still in the early stages and just starting to kick things off here in the new year. What else is going on? I recently published a new blog on my website that I want to share with you guys really quick just because it's timely. So let me pull that up and just show you so that you are aware of it. It's a blog that I wrote in partnership with National Business Furniture, who supplied me with this lovely desk that I'm working from and some of my other office furniture. But anyway, this is the blog post. It's about Marie Kondo, if you've watched her new Netflix show or if you've read the Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, her best-selling book. So check that out if you are adding spring cleaning to your list of New Year's resolutions. But without further ado, let's go ahead and look at Jeremy's new industry-specific vertical website that he's created. So one of the first things that I notice is I really like his logo, but I think that you have to kind of close the gap for people who haven't been to this website before by adding also the name of the business, even though it's in the URL, as well as maybe like a short tagline that just says what you do. So it doesn't even have to be a full sentence. Leads for lawyers or something it could be as simple as that. So this is something that I recommend to pretty much anyone with any type of website. Having that tagline in the top, in that sort of menu area that persists on every page is great, because then no matter what page people initially come in on, they know whether or not the website's going to be relevant to them. So, one thing I will say is I don't know if the local contact and address information and hours of operation is important to Jeromy unless he is trying to target very local leads, because having things like the name of the business, the address, the phone number, and the hours of operation are all things that I would recommend as part of a sound local SEO strategy. But with the work that I do with Jeromy, I know that he is looking further out from just Colorado and, specific parts of Colorado. So I don't know if this stuff is necessary, but maybe it also is like a psychological thing, like showing people that there's, this is where we're based and this is how you can get a hold of us and all that stuff. So that's my 2 cents there. One thing that I always talk about on these audits is that sliders are maybe not the way to go, just because they can get distracting. In this case, the slider has arrows as if it were to lead to other slides, but it looks like maybe Jeromy just wanted to have the one image and then, couldn't get rid of the arrows without diving into the code. So if you just want one image, I think this is ideal. It's kind of cutting off the top of the image with the screen resolution I'm on, which I think is a 28-inch Mac desktop. So be careful of that. Another thing with stock photo type things in your header is that you want it to be really specific to the type of thing that you're doing. So what would be better than this lady on her phone would maybe be like a lawyer, like shaking hands with somebody who's smiling, showing kind of like the desired end result of this process of working with Jeromy. It's to get new clients, it's to close deals. But I think that in terms of like the heading itself, the text and the call to action, I think that's good. So one thing I would say, though, is maybe tone down the all caps, but that's just a general note of mine to anybody who uses all caps. All right, so I'm just going to play some of this video. We're probably not going to watch all of it. Oh, it's only 17 seconds. I like that Jeromy has incorporated video like higher up on this page, on the home page specifically. And I like that he's showing how simple it is, how lawyers can actually see what it would be like to work with him. He would be deploying ads for them that direct connectly to a number that they can call, and then, once they get that lead, it's up to them to close it. So he's setting expectations. He's showing them, the simple mechanics behind what he's trying to do for them, but he's also showing them that he's the person who can help them, leverage paid advertising in order to be successful. So I love videos. Wherever you can use them, they're great. And Jeromy also has a video series that he, I think, launches initially on Twitch and then shares to YouTube. So, look up Jeromy, and his last name is Sonne. If you want to look up those videos, you might have a link here somewhere, but we'll see if we stumble upon it. Really solid call to action copy, ready for your phone to ring off the hook. I love it. Schedule a free consultation. I'm curious to see how... Okay, so this looks like a broken link, Jeromy, just so you know. He told me that he just launched the website yesterday, so these things are to be expected. One thing I like to see with client testimonials is even if they're not comfortable with you using their full name, using like a last initial or like a company they're associated with. Another thing is when you're getting testimonials from clients, sometimes you want to kind of lead them a little bit with what you are hoping that they'll say about you. So like whenever I request testimonials from people that I've worked with, my process is that I start with LinkedIn because I like to have a public record of it that's like associated with their name. And then what I'll do is I'll say, hey, would you mind recommending me? I was thinking maybe you could talk about bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. And I kind of lead them into the things that I am hoping that they got out of our, working relationship, and things that I want people to think about me when they're considering me and working with me in the future. So that might help you out, Jeromy, to when you're soliciting testimonials for your website, having some sort of end game in mind and like cluing the client into that. Because like something like this, I highly recommend their services. Doesn't necessarily speak to me as something that's going to get me to want to then go and, request this appointment. All right, so let's see. I think Jeremy's personality really comes through in this copy, and he always tells me that he's not a copywriter, but I'm going to call bullshit on that. The basics, and I think you do a good job with that. And then, okay, so one thing that I would say about this section is just add a header that says, lawyers we specialize in working with. That's not the exact text that you'd use, but something like that just to divide these sections up. Or even if you were to take this like gray here and use that as the background for this or something like that. But I like that the hover effect. I would be curious to see how that works on mobile, so definitely check that and make sure that it's a smooth flow. But it's good that he addresses, each one of these types of lawyers that he specializes in working with and encourages people to click through to learn more about what he can do for them. All right. So I like this section here, our values. A lot of the websites that I audit as part of like the paid service that I offer for UX audits has like goofy stuff like company mission statement. And it's like, it comes across as an internal document that you've like published for an external audience, but haven't edited it at all for them. And so this comes across much more sincere to me by saying like, these are the things that drive, what I'm going to do for you. And Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't change that. This image here, though, and this, neither of these images really speak to me. It would almost be maybe more authentic and complimenting the things that you're saying here, Jeromy, to have a video of you just talking through these things and talking about your approach to running a service-based business and, you know, some of the cool things that you've done with clients before or something like that. And oh, look, there's me. So Jeromy and I periodically work together, not only on this side business idea that I've told you about, but on various client projects, and sometimes we pitch things together because Jeromy is definitely better at marketing automation and pay-per-click and like the technical stuff, and I'm more of like the creative, like writing side of things, even though, like I say, Jeromy really does know how to put good copy together. So this section here is good because it shows that there really is a team behind the things that Jeromy is pitching to clients. And, you know, when they come to this website, they see that there are different people that they can tap to help them on different sides of this project. I'm just going to creep and see what happens when you click through. Okay, so one thing that I would recommend is adding a short bio for each person so that the clients understand what their role is. But maybe also, because I'm actually not familiar with Nick, but I would say, you know, definitely between Jeromy and I, we've both handled a lot of really cool client projects. And so maybe having like a link to our LinkedIn so that people can see, you know, these public testimonials we've gotten, you know, the social proof of the clients that we've worked with, that might be another thing that gets them to decide to move forward. So, okay, so here's that form. You know, again, Jeromy, just make sure to add it to that page that you had up here, this requested appointment page. What you might have meant to do was have like a page anchor that when you click it, just scrolls down here, which we talked about on a previous episode. I'm trying to remember whose, but page anchors are something that you can implement if you just Google it with a couple simple lines of code. It's nothing super complicated. All right, and then add a header to this blog section, and beware the uncategorized default category. I'm a firm believer that everything should go in a category, and if it doesn't, don't show this uncategorized thing because it just looks a little sloppy. And also, this button is just hard to read. I'm sure it says like read more or something, but it needs obviously better contrast here. Another thing that I wanted to mention while I was scrolling is keep your white space consistent. So like here, it's really big, and then you see like here before the picture shows up, it's a smaller white space. So just make it consistent. Consistency breeds trust. So that's a good way to do it. And then, you know, again, you have the same contact information. If that's important, I would just put it directly in the footer, in, you know, what appears as the footer, this like black background, instead of repeating it in the main content section. I like this. This is cheeky, but to the point. Don't forget to hyperlink contact us so that it's easy for people to get in touch. I love that Jeromy has this little chat box thing. I'm trying to see. Okay, it's Drift, which is, I haven't messed around with too much, but I actually just got a book from them in the mail that I'm excited to pour into. So Drift is a cool like software as a service company that does things like these chat pop-ups and helping people to deploy customer service at scale. So what else? And also, I don't know if this opening hours thing is really necessary, again, because I don't know if you're trying to optimize for local SEO or not. But even so, I feel like this takes up too much of the real estate. I would rather you go into, you know, like these things. I'm not sure if they actually link to anything. Yeah, so Jeromy, here's another thing where you're going to want to make sure that that's linking to the right stuff. But if you have separate pages for each type of attorney, I would add those here, as well as maybe, you know, some of these top level pages, or if not all of them. I'm not going, and so here we go, Jeromy, some dummy copy. I think that was left in the theme that you'll have to change on this testimonials page. So, one thing that I recommend when somebody's building a website and they have some things that they're not ready to change yet, but they know they want to use in the future, just take it off the top level menu so that people don't see it. They might still come across it in search if your site is indexable. In that case, you might even want to change that page to a draft, which I think would automatically take it off that top level menu, at least if you're using WordPress. But another thing that I wanted to say, and I know I've said it before, but it's that testimonials shouldn't live on their own page. Ideally, they're interspersed throughout your website, complementing whatever it is that testimonial says. Like, hopefully in some way it aligns with what that page is and, whatever you're trying to call out on that page. So there's probably some other stuff too. Like he just started the blog, and I would maybe say that you want to change the author to your name too, so that it adds authority to you as the website owner. I'm just going to go through these pages really quick because we're already at like 15 minutes past. This page looks good. This should maybe be an embedded map, but I feel like I know why he did it this way. The Google Maps API is like really weird right now, and I've had other WordPress websites where I've tried to work on where it's like, okay, you have to go get an API code, and then it basically charges you, I guess, if it hits a certain bandwidth of visitors and stuff, but I've never been able to figure out how to actually implement that code, and so I think that's what Jeromy did too. But anyway, not a whole lot I would change about this page. I'd probably put the form higher or next to the contact information. Let's see what else. So Jeromy immediately on his about page, talks about his experience. And I can speak to that. I've worked with him on some other, lawyer projects. Might want to update this too. Jeromy, I know for sure I'm not an award-winning dentist, but you might be. Always be careful of that dummy text, lorem ipsum. So it looks like probably what happened on this page is Jeromy just forgot to change this bottom thing. And it looks like he customized the rest of the text. I'm not going to read through all of it, but just make sure, another thing, like this looks like it's single spacing and this looks like it's double spacing. So consistency with formatting is always a good thing. And we'll just look at this process page and then we'll be done. I would say maybe you want to change the text to black here so that there's a better contrast. It's a little bit hard to read at the edges. Looks like these are supposed to link out to those different pages. So again, it looks like you have the pages, Jeromy. You just have to make sure that they link from the home page. I like that you go out and actually list like what it looks like to start working with you. This could be another great place to add a video. I would suggest maybe something with a current client that things have gone really well with. So you could say, like have it be like a case study of sorts, but where that person's also interacting and speaking for you and saying nice things about you. All right, well, that's all I've got for now. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to tell you guys. But no, I think that's it. So with that, I will stop the audit for today. And as always, if you want me to add your website to my queue of websites to audit, just get in touch. I'm Madeline, Madeline.Osman, OSMAN, @gmail.com, and I would look forward to helping you make your website better.